You're good.
Let's do
You're
it.
good.
Yeah,
All
let's do
right.
it.
So, hey, folks, a couple of you people out there in the old internetville decided to toast us a couple months ago, and we picked up the Trevor Jacobs story, right? If you're not
Yeah.
familiar, Trevor decided that it would be a great idea to take his airplane and basically jump out of it and claim he had an incident or an accident. And while doing so, he crashed it into the hills of California on his way out to, I think it was Mammoth. I don't care which place it is anymore. It's really not important. So with that, this
Yeah.
one's coming to you from The Verge and a couple other locations. It's also from AV Web. Basically, the FAA will revoke YouTuber's pilot's license after plane crash video. Now, we played the video on our actual show before. We showed some of the particulars, right? And basically, things aren't going to turn out well for Trevor. And when we mean by not turn out well, we mean, basically, they're coming after him for the same things that we pointed out in the show before, which is the FAA came back and said it was staged. The door was open already when he had the engine failure. He never attempted to restart, never made any Mayday calls. He never attempted to reach any safe landing zones, and he disposed of the wreckage. And Corey will fill us in about the details of what they actually sent him and said about what's about to happen to his license. So go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to put the link down below with some of the other things, our normal links down, the details below. But basically, it's a link straight to the redacted, the Freedom of Information document, redacted, some details, of course, but going out to Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, yeah, it talks about various things that say even things like prior to the flight, multiple cameras were attached to it, including the point directly at the propeller. In order to record video footage of the inside and outside of the flight. It said you put on a sport parachute, a backpack container, which they say you didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
You opened left side pilot door before you claimed the engine had failed. Prior to jumping, you made no attempt to contact ATC. Some things that Mike had already said, and a few other things that go down through there. You can read it. I think it's 6 pages. Down there, the last sentence, or the last paragraph in the main body says, whether or not you elect to appeal from this emergency order, you must immediately surrender your airman certificate to a person listed at the address listed. In the event you have lost or destroyed the certificate, you'll be required to execute a sworn declarations setting forth, basically saying that you are unable to submit it. So, and then it talks about some other things, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if he doesn't submit it by the time they say so, up to fines of at least $1,000 a day. I mean, again, as Mike kind of said in the intro, you guys have gave us plenty of your thoughts on this subject prior to today on multiple videos. I actually even saw a comment on one of our previous videos on this posted today by somebody who, and I mentioned to Mike before, I said, this is still something going on. Somebody comment on today. We could talk about it on the show today because there's been an update, of course. I mean, guys, just to review, like, we're both pilots. But we're not claiming to be knowing everything, but we do have some experience in the aviation world. And we just kind of looked at some of the things that a professional pilot or somebody who even had been trained on general stuff to do in emergencies, general training, stuff that's written in the FAR, the regulations. And it just seems sketchy.
It was
that
sketchy.
This was filmed this way. And again, we don't know this guy. I didn't know him before this story came out. We have nothing against the guy prior. I don't know who the guy is. I know he's an Olympian. I understand that. But the point being, we had nothing against him prior to the video.
No, he's an ID-10T and a Pen 15 is what he is. But here's the best part, okay?
Yeah.
When you get written up for doing dumb stuff with the FAA, and they quote a FAR, right? 14 CFR 9113A, Federal Aviation Regulations states that no person may operate an aircraft in careless or reckless manner so that it endangers the life or property of another. Now, being familiar with this from two perspectives. One, as helicopter pilots, we were always allowed to fly, quote unquote, lower than most airplanes in certain environments, with the knowledge that we were not going to present a greater danger to the public or property below. Okay? Whereas airplanes have a slightly different rules and regulations set to them, which prohibits them from flying in a certain weather, and we could always get away with certain things in helicopters a little differently. But once they quote that one part right there, they're saying that effectively his license is gone for a year. But
yeah, yep.
Well, let's go a little bit further than that. The FAA is not done with this, because once you surrender it, then that means that the second part will probably come, which means they'll review after a year and probably say, you're never getting this back. Because
Yeah, it doesn't. Again, if you guys don't know, just because you return your license into the FAA, it's revoked. You surrender it. Doesn't mean when this year is over, you just get it
Yeah.
back. That's not how that
No.
works. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So this is the section that says no application for a new airman certificate shall be accepted from you, nor shall any such certificate be issued to you for a period of 1 year from the date of service of this order. Now, so the interesting part there is that also means that if they revoke this, okay, he's probably, if he's ever going to have a chance to get back in the air again, he's going to have to recert. And
yeah, he's doing a 709. I think it's 709.
Right? And then the second part of that is, you know what? On every one of those recertifications, he could keep going up in the air, and they're going to just say, no, you failed. No, you failed. Or they just might not assign, an examiner to it. There's lots of ways that this is going to turn around and possibly come back to hurt him. But we'll see. The FAA has done other things before. This could end up as a legal battle. But the fact that he was solely responsible for this event, and he recorded the footage of his crash in literally in the most absolutely foolish way you could possibly prove that you shouldn't be trusted to ever handle an aircraft and probably not even drive a car again. You did it to yourself.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, because you said before the show one thing that I said I wish you would say it on the air, and what was it?
I don't remember exactly verbatim, but the point was, anybody who has wholeheartedly understood and adopted what a professional pilot is meant to mean, as you exhibit the professional attitude you carry yourself in, whether you're at the airport or not, or whatever, you would hope and you strive to encourage others to be the same level of professionalism that you exhibit whenever you're in an area, right? So if you're, just imagine if you guys are in a car and you have to drive on the highway with other people, you would hope those people give the same diligence and attention to safety and maintaining a safe, operating that car in a safe way as you hopefully do, right? And I'm taking that from Mike, to elaborate, what we said before the show. I wouldn't want to share airspace with the guy. I mean, I'm saying somebody who does this for views could, I just make something up. They could be taxiing to the runway. They could hold short, and then the aircraft just catches on fire. Get out and they film it, and then I'm like sitting behind them on the ramp waiting to go, and I'm like, so the aircraft's on fire. I mean, and now knowing it was just for the views, I mean, it's like, this is
right.
You don't even want to share airspace with somebody who doesn't take that kind of level of professionalism just to.
That was it. That was the comment. And here's the other part, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's very few people that I've come across, and myself included, right? That when you take on the responsibility of becoming a pilot and you understand how much money you put into that process, and then the second part is where it says for the first time, this is a privilege, right? And rightfully so, it is partially a privilege in the aspects of what it takes for you to maintain that. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that becoming a pilot made me a more responsible human as in general in life. Okay, overall, because if you understand what it's like to take on the responsibility of even teaching people, but even moving forward in the airline industry and so on and so forth, once you have the respect of actually having that license, but then you also have not only that, the huge responsibility of being responsible for the people that are behind you that are innocent passengers in your domain of safety, and you have to hold yourself to the highest standard. Once you've adapted that as a principle of your actual job, every other job to a certain degree pales in a little bit of comparison, because that in and of itself can be tremendously stressful. But the fact that a sole individual could take that privilege and destroy the actual principles of airmanship right off the bat for such a reckless cause is, I think, terms to revoke it forever. But that's me.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah. If and I certainly we haven't heard the end of this saga.
Nope.
Whether he repeals it or not. Again, I'm sure we haven't heard the end of it, and it's like we said before, until we have like all the facts laid out, which again, we don't have all the facts at this moment. We have more of the facts, but we can just say I wouldn't want to share airspace with him. I mean,
No, not at all.
all the pilots out there know what I'm talking about. There's people that probably have pilot's licenses, and you're like, please don't ever be at the same airport I'm at. I just don't want to have to deal with that, and the people in the back, as you said. I mean, it's not just you flying. I mean, yeah, you get to the airport safe and land it safely, cool, they're all with you, but nevertheless, they're back there and they are just passengers.
Yep.
They are not fully aware of any of the sounds the aircraft makes, the signs you give to the cabin crew. Things have happened. They don't need to be part of that, and they're just passengers. It's your responsibility to care for them and
do your best,
stay professional and do your
true.
job. So, but anyway, yeah, there you go.
Hey, you know what? If he gets a chance to come back around one day, I hope he has to work for it, fight for it. Yes, there's redeeming qualities and all, but not this trash. So, anyhow, let us know what you think in the comments below. Trevor, sorry, bud. You're not getting any votes of approval here, and I'm happy the FAA pulled your ticket. And you know what? So be it. If you're upset about that, hey, leave us a nasty comment below, because we don't care about pretty much anything past the fact that he got just deserves. That's it.
Yeah.
My feeling.
Yeah, I got nothing else. Yeah.
There you go. All right, like, subscribe, follow. Let us know what you think in the comments below.